This is a 1982 dime. Unassuming, but fetched an amazing $2,500 at auction. If you want to know why, stay tuned and I'll get to all the juicy details and what you need to look for when you're searching for one. Hey, this is Frostbite. And a coin like this in MS60 is going to fetch about $135. But you get this into the high grade MS68, and you're talking about a $2,500 coin. Why? Unassuming dime, right? It's not a special strike. It's not a proof coin. It comes from Philadelphia. But what is it about this particular dime that makes it so valuable? Well, I want you to watch to the end because I'm going to give you the specific information. But first, I'm going to give you some fun facts and talk to you a little bit about the man on the reverse of this coin. So, fun fact, dime comes from decimus, and decimus means 1/10. This is Latin. However, we get our word dime from the French disme. And if you remember early in our numismatic world here in the United States, disme was put on many coins. It was disme, half disme. But later on into the early 1800s, we changed from disme to dime. And that's where we get our term dime from. Now, let's talk about the man on the coin itself. Now, this is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Now, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was the 32nd president of the United States. And not only did he serve four unprecedented terms in office, but he was the first president to suffer from a physical disability. FDR was diagnosed with infantile paralysis, better known as polio, in 1921 at the age of 39. Now, he was a great choice for this because of his polio. He worked and created an agency that worked to eradicate polio in children, and it was called the March of Dimes. Now, the March of Dimes raised money to find a cure for polio. Now, President Roosevelt died in April 12th of 1945, and very quickly, the government got together and said, yes, we definitely want to put him on the dime in honorarium. And so in 1946, the bust of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt would appear on the dime and remain there even to this day. Now, there's a number of elements on a dime, and in order to understand why the previous dime, the first dime that I showed you, is so important, you need to understand the elements of the dime. So I'm going to briefly go over the anatomy of a coin. So when you're looking at a coin, you got a bunch of different areas. You got the field, you got the relief, you got the devices here, you got the date, the mint mark, you got the designer's initials, you got the motto, you got the emblem, you have the rim, you have the edge, you have all of these elements, and all of these elements are designed and intended to be on a coin as designed from the United States Mint. Okay, now it doesn't matter if it's come from Canada, it doesn't matter if it comes from Istanbul, it doesn't matter if it comes from Turkey, it doesn't matter if it comes from the United Kingdom, it doesn't matter where it is. Elements of a coin are what's intended to be on that coin. If an element is changed or an element is missing, it either becomes a variety or an error. Most likely a variety, especially when it changes from the intended. Now, the particular dime that I showed you at the beginning is a very specific variety, and it's missing a key element. So what is it that key dime is missing? And that element is the mint mark. Now, you'd be like, well, the no P mint mark happens all the time on cents. These are not pictures of cents. These are pictures of dimes. And as you can see here, the Philadelphia mint mark is required to be on the dime. If you look at the image on the right, you will clearly see that it is not. Now, remind you that this is the unicorn of the business strikes. This is the only time in which the Philadelphia mint mark, the Denver mint mark, ever in a regular business strike missed the mint mark. Okay, so this is kind of the unicorn of coins when it comes to this particular variety. Now, the San Francisco Mint in the proof coins have had this happen a couple of times. There's the 1970 no less. There's a couple different years for that. But we're talking about business strikes and missing mint marks. This is the only one to date that's known to have this variety. Now, because it's a business strike means that anybody can find them. They were in pocket change. And in 1982, the no P mint marks were usually found in, they were found initially in December, and they were found in Sandusky, Ohio. There were about 8,000 to 10,000 of them or so that were found. Now, additional ones were found in dime bags, the actual big bags that came from the Cedar Point amusement park, and they were given out as change. So then again, there were other ones that were found in circulation, and because of that, the Ohio area was a hotbed for these particular areas, and probably still are. Some people probably have these in their change. So if you're in or around Ohio, then you're definitely going to want to be looking at your dimes, because there's a likelihood that you could potentially have one of these. And again, as I said, in Mint State 60, they fetched about $135. Not a bad turnaround for a dime. Now, coincidentally, there are two different varieties that were discovered in the 1982 no-P mint mark, and those are these. You're going to see a weak and a strong strike. Now, the strong strike is the more expensive of the two. It's the more desired coin, and you'll see that in the image on the right. Now, what I want you to look at is I want you to look right here. You'll kind of see the rim. You'll kind of see how soft the rim is. You look at this area here, you're going to see how soft that is. And if you're going to look at the lower crest of the two, the curvature of the two where it comes back across, you're going to see that that's kind of folded or blazed in to the rim area. So you can see there's just that big, soft, flat, mushy area in the soft strike, whereas on this really strong strike, everything is really solid. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Now, in an interview that was done by Jamie Hernandez of PCGS with Clyde Engelhard, they said that when they were putting the dimes together, so he had probably 1,500 or so of these. When they were putting them together, when he was putting these in dime rolls, he could only fit 47 or 48 in a dime roll because they were a little bit thicker. Now, because they're a little bit thicker, this is something that you want to be looking for. You want to see that little bit of extra thickness in the strong strike than you will over the weak strike. Now, you can still fit 50, 51 of these in a soft strike. So if you ever get a roll of these, and I doubt you'd find a full roll, but if you ever to get a full roll of these and you only got 47 or 48 coins, and they look like the image on the right, man, you have hit a treasure trove. Again, depending upon how well these come in MS63, you're talking about $220, $250. So they're an amazing coin. They can still be found in pocket change. Now, basic estimates of the coin state that there are about 150,000 of these that are in existence. Now, the estimate comes from the fact that there's two significant dies. There's the weak and the strong die. And because there's two, they estimate that about 75,000 coins, give or take, can be struck on a particular die before they have to take it out of service. So the rough estimation is 2 times 75,000 is 150,000. And that's kind of where they got that estimate. They don't actually know exactly how many of these coins are out there. Many of them could have been lost. They could have caught a bunch of them. So they don't know about exactly how many of them have been released. But again, the existence of 150,000 of these is what they expect. Now, PCGS is graded approximately 2,000, 2,500 of these. The gentleman, Mr. Engelhard, that I talked about, had personally handled about 1,500 of these. And then with the 8,000 to 10,000 that had been identified throughout Sandusky and the amusement park in Ohio, you're talking about 15,000 to 20,000 coins. That's a large, significant gap between the 150,000 potential that there are if this is in fact a decent estimate. That means that there's a lot of potential coins out there to be found. Now, in the rarity, it's still up there in the rarity scale because 150,000 out of the millions and millions and millions of coins that were minted, it's still a rare number, but that means they could exist. So if you live in or around the Ohio area or the surrounding states, then this is definitely something you're going to want to keep an eye out for. If you are a person who likes searching for dimes and you get a hold of a 1982 roll, this is definitely something that you're going to want to look for. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a story about the 1982 no-P dime. It's an extremely collectible coin. I hope you look for these. I hope you can find one of these. And if you do, please send me a message, do a video, tag me in it, let me know that you found one. I would be so happy to hear your story. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Frostbite. If you like that video, hit that like button. Please subscribe, share the video out. It really does help. And again, thank you for stopping by. It's Frostbite. Have a wonderful day.